I'm Attorney Ralph Sarmiento, and you are still watching the second semi-final match of IDB Challenge 2007. And our proposition is a free country better than a secure country. And we will now have the interpellation round, and we will start with the first speaker of UNOR to interpellate St. Scholastica's Academy.
The first question is how do you define freedom?
Would you like to answer the question?
Yes.
Mia?
For us, freedom in a country means we affirm the right to each individual to freely live in any peaceful way he or she chooses, as long as they respect the rights of the others.
And freedom is the quality or state of being free, right?
Yes.
And being free is having legal and political rights. And among these legal and political rights is the freedom of fear. So now that you are aware of that one of the civil rights of the people is the freedom of fear, do you call it freedom when you step out of the house or when you go to malls and be hampered by fear that it will be bombed anytime? Having that fear in you, that is not freedom.
How many terrorist attacks are actually there here in Bacolod?
Well, you're asking me, I'm the one interpolating.
When I'm walking in the mall here in Bacolod, I'm not worried about terrorists bombing the mall.
How come?
Because I find Bacolod safe.
How could you say it's safe? How could you say that it's safe?
Because I can go around the mall without fearing that people will bomb the mall.
So by saying that you're not fearing that that no terrorist will bomb Bacolod, that is because you say that Bacolod is secured because you don't feel fear when you're walking around.
I find that Bacolod is secure in a way that Bacolod does not infringe on people's freedom to speak, freedom to choose, human rights and civil liberties.
Okay, next question. You said that that to impose security, there should be a giving up of freedom. You said that in your speech, right?
We do not agree with security.
So how do you define security?
Security that does not infringe on freedom. Security that does not ask. There's security to the point that the country doesn't ask citizens to give up their rights, human rights.
Exactly. Security does not to impose security does not necessarily mean to give up freedom, because when you give up freedom, it is like abolishing freedom. But there's no such thing as absolute or total absence of freedom, because first of all, we have our fundamental rights, and these rights cannot be alienated or abrogated from us.
Exactly. That is why we are pushing for these rights, these unalienable rights, not to be infringed by security measures. Like you said, that great changes enabling that countries that want security are willing to create great changes enabling countries to reach their highest rate of national security. So,
but to impose security, you don't have to give up freedom. It's just regulated. Freedom is just regulated.
Define regulated.
Regulated is to put under the control of the law. There is no violation or giving up of it.
Freedom is freedom. It cannot be controlled.
Okay, my next question is that, can there be abuse of rights in a free country?
No. We are pushing for rights. There is no...
Okay, that ends the 3 minutes of Charisse. Now let's turn to Mia. Mia?
Do you believe that security should be for the good of people?
Yes, it is for the good of the people.
So do you believe that governments will use their power and authority for security in a good way?
Yes, of course, in a good way.
So how do you respond to the recent case in the U.S. of the FBI head admits mistakes in use of the Security Act? In fact, Robert Mueller, FBI director, conceded that the Bureau had improperly used USA Patriot Act, which is, of course, for anti-terrorism.
If the FBI have illegally used the US Patriot Act, the FBI are not exempted from the Patriot Act. Therefore, they're also punishable by the Patriot Act.
Exactly, but how do you said that the government will use their authority and power to secure a nation in good ways. But how do you respond to the use of the FBI in illegally using these powers that they have?
They can always be something. Well, the FBI illegally used it.
Yes.
So can you repeat your question?
How do you respond to the
well, these people can be sanctioned, as I've said. The U.S. Patriot Act encompasses everyone. There are no exemptions.
Then that just proves that when you give power, that much power to the government, it is bound to be misused.
So even though it is misused, I mean, people are not perfect. They can also misuse it. But there is security so that these people will be sanctioned.
Well, exactly. When you're asking for a person to give up a certain liberty, in the U.S. Patriot Act, people are asked to give up their freedom of speech, freedom, liberties, civil liberties.
They're not asked to give
How sure
them
are you
up.
about that? People who are arrested that are non-citizens in their country just for the act of looking like a Muslim can be arrested just because they look like an Afghan person or they have the same watch that was used in a bombing attack. They are not even given the rights to fair trial, which is one of the most important human rights. How about they're not even given a right to an attorney? Not even their names are not even released to public. So all along,
Are you sure? Can you give me an example?
Guantanamo Bay,
Military tribunal.
military tribunals. What more can you ask for?
Again, the people who abuse them, they are again sanctioned. They can be sanctioned and no one is exempted from it. So the people who abuse
So are
it...
you saying that the government will be sanctioned?
Yes.
For using their the security that was given to them, that was because the citizens they allowed to the citizens' freedom to be infringed upon. So they should be sanctioned for
If
that?
they misuse it, then they will be punishable by the law.
So
no
how-
one is exempted
so
from
how
the US
sure are you
Patriot
that
Act.
the security that you want the government to give to you is not a false sense of security like like what happened to the FBI agents?
What?
During searches of the FBI,
Yes.
using national security letters, when these letters are given to you, you allow them to search your home even if you don't allow them to.
Okay, I think that ends the